Check with mowers, blowers, and trimmers from Craftsman, Toro, and Ego. They are still your local Benjamin Moore paint retailer, and they still have that amazing selection of outdoor grills and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Plus, their helpful and knowledgeable staffs are some of the best in the Northwest. It's all at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Open every day but Sunday.
They're having one hail of a sale at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. That's right, a hail sale where you can get massive savings on a new vehicle. For example, get a 23 GMC Sierra 1500 up to $20,000 off when you trade in eligible vehicle, now just over $37,000. A new 24 Chevy Tahoe RST, $13,000 off, now just over $59K. Plus 24 Chevy Traverse RS, $10,000 off, now just over $45,000. Plus many more. It's one hail of a sale at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Online at hurlchev.com.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Where is the best place to go to stream your favorite NWKS radio station? NWKSradio.net. Where should you go to find out what's happening in the area? NWKSradio.net. What's happening with local area sports? NWKSradio.net. Is the weather causing delays or cancellations? NWKSradio.net. Need tickets to the next big NWKS radio event? NWKSradio.net. The place to go to be in the know. NWKSradio.net.
Boy, howdy, are we in the big travel season. Have peace of mind that trained and certified crews from S&M Towing, Recovery and Repair stand by round the clock, ready to help you. The tri-state area rely on these teams from Goodland, Burlington, Colby, and Oakley. When troubles arise, get roadside assistance, towing and recovery anytime, any size. Call 785-899-5423, 899-5423.
They're having one hail of a sale at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. That's right, a hail sale where you can get massive savings on a new vehicle. For example, get a 23 GMC Sierra 1500 up to $20,000 off when you trade in eligible vehicle, now just over $37,000. A new 24 Chevy Tahoe RST, $13,000 off, now just over $59K. Plus 24 Chevy Traverse RS, $10,000 off, now just over $45,000. Plus many more. It's one hail of a sale at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Online at hurlchev.com.
Tina Wollock here. I'm the new executive director of the Sherman County Community Foundation. I am so excited to be in this position and to build a bright future for Sherman County. A fun fact about me, I met my husband right here in Goodland on a bowling league. With over 2 decades of leadership experience and a passion for nonprofits, I'm dedicated to growing this foundation and strengthening connections. I would love to hear from you. Feel free to call me at 785-728-7800 or connect with me on Facebook. Let's work together to make a difference in Sherman County.
This is where power meets precision. The T9 series with PLM intelligence, New Holland's most powerful and connected four-wheel drive tractor ever. Available now at Yost Farm Supply. The 6 Model T9 lineup delivers up to 699 peak horsepower with a redesigned cab environment for maximum comfort. New levels of precision technology, including optional dual IntelliView 12 monitors. Stop by Yost Farm Supply in Goodland, St. Francis, or Imperial today.
Your husband is pretty handy to have around. He makes the world's best mac and cheese. He's in the Tickle Monster Hall of Fame. And he can teach anyone how to throw strikes. But a busted pipe and a basement full of water?
Honey, I think we need a plumber.
Is a little out of his league. That's where a homeowner's policy from Shelter Insurance comes in handy. We'll help get your house back in order and your husband back to what he does best.
I'm Brent Wood. Let's talk about your auto, home, and life needs.
Have you ever wondered what the greatest gift or legacy would be that you could leave your family when you leave this earthly world? Pre-planning your funeral is something many don't like to discuss. However, pre-planning can help relieve some stress financially and on your family when the time does come. Coons Russell Funeral Home in Goodland and Sharon Springs offer a variety of pre-arrangements and services. Just call Brian Russell in Goodland at Coons Russell Funeral Home and discuss your options today.
You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
The amount of money getting thrown around
to quarterbacks who haven't done diddly squat is amazing to me.
The region's only local sports talk.
Listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 102.5. Simulcasting on Goodland's 730 Gold KLOE.
Guys everywhere.
Discussing it all from the preps.
It's been a long, long time. But the Goodland Cowboys are going to play for a state title.
To the pros.
How about a walk-off grand slam? Touch of all time, Ryan McMahon.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, as well as the Insurance Agency, Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
4 wide receivers in the pattern for Thorson. He throws the post over the middle. It's caught by Miller. Touchdown, Goodland. Beautiful throw from Zach Thorson, his 3rd passing touchdown of the night. This one from 19 yards out. Make it 20-8, Cowboys.
Go I formation. Raiola under center. They are bunched up around the line of scrimmage. Hand off to Dowdell off the right side. Touchdown, Nebraska. Dante Dowdell finds Pater. 6-0 Big Red.
Play action drop back for Daniels. Looking for a home run ball. He's got Skinner. Does he make the play? Touchdown, Kansas. What a throw. What a catch. 35 yards to the end zone.
Mitchell with the play fake, rolling to his left. Now floats one too high. It's going to be intercepted at the goal line. Down the west sideline. Intercepted. This is past Surtain. Surtain's going to house call it. 25-20, 15-10, 5 touchdown.
And good Monday morning, everybody. Glad you're back with us here on the Morning Blitz. As always, broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 102.5, simulcasting on 730 Gold KLOE, and of course also available at nwksradio.net and through YouTube, X, and Facebook on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. So glad you could be with us here on this Monday, October the 7th. It's a nice, cool start to the morning, 47 degrees outside, but the sun is coming up. The wind is not blowing as it has for most of the weekend, it feels like. And we should expect a high around 78 and mostly a week of temperatures in the upper 70s to low to mid 80s is what we're looking at mostly here when we're talking about the weather looking ahead here this week. We have a full show ahead today, as we always do on a Monday. Our good friend from Chiefs Blitz, Chiefs insider Nick Athens, going to join us. We'll talk to him about tonight's Monday Night Football game with the Chiefs and the Saints. We'll also look back at week 5 of the NFL football season and get some thoughts with Nick coming up here in the bottom of the hour, about 20 to 25 minutes from now. Nick Athen will be joining the show. We'll get to plenty of things in the leftovers as well, but it is a Monday, and that usually means one thing: weekend winners and losers.
There are 2 kinds of people in this world.
There's winners and there's losers.
Which ones were which this past weekend?
I want winners.
Loser. You're a loser.
It's the weekend's winners and losers on the Morning Blitz.
Want to be a winner, be a winner.
So going to get rolling with weekend winners and going to start in high school football again. Congratulations. The first winner of the weekend is Hoxie Indian football. The Indians become just one of 2 teams now in our area that remain unbeaten as they cruise to a 45-12 win over Decatur Community. I said that was probably going to be one of the games of the week in our region. It proved to be, like our good friend Connor Nickel predicted, a little bit lopsided when it was all said and done. 45-12, the final score. The Hoxie Indians get the win on Friday night. But once again, they remain one of 2 area teams that are unbeaten. We've talked about the other one quite a bit too. Weskin, who picked up a win this past weekend as well over Cheyenne, 46-0 to get to 5-0. So, but Hoxie had themselves another great performance against a very solid Decatur Community team who only had 1 loss on the season. And they really got it done from all different areas, did the Indians. Duncan Bell, their quarterback, threw for 4 touchdowns. He ran for another. Braden Sheets ran for 100-plus yards and a touchdown. Braxton Monk had a rushing touchdown as well as a receiving touchdown for the Indians, who get to 5-0 with that win. And probably even more importantly, did a great job defensively in slowing up Josiah Pattengall, who was the running back for Decatur Community. He had 118 yards and a touchdown. Still went over 100, still had a score, but not the typical, close to over 200 yards and then multiple scores as the Hoxie defense kept them in check. And as we've heard from Connor Nickel multiple times on this show,
that Hoxie has a quiet expectation and confidence that they want to be playing for a state championship and winning a state championship. And right now on their way with a 5-0 start, our first winner of the weekend, Hoxie football. Some other area football scores from this past Friday night. Oakley picked up their second consecutive win. They edged Plainville 14-13. They were able to get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to take the lead in the fourth, or to have the lead in the fourth quarter and hold on to the lead in the fourth quarter. Carson Beal, who got the start at quarterback, threw for 2 touchdowns. He also ran 27 times for 79 yards. Carson Beal did a lot of the work in Oakley's 1-point win over Plainville to pick up their second win of this 2024 season. Colby, they lost for the first time this year. They fell 41-7 to Holcomb at home on homecoming. Colby gave up over 460 yards on defense, which has been the calling card for Colby this year, has been their defense as well as their passing game. But their defense gave up over 460 yards to a very good Holcomb team. That's nothing to take away from Colby. They're a very good Holcomb team. But Colby also had 3 turnovers in the first quarter. So that's always hard to overcome when you have that many turnovers early on in the game. And Colby would end up losing for the first time this season, 41-7. Goodland, it was a tussle. They did defeat winless Ulysses 48-28, but there's probably not a prouder person in Cowboy Stadium than Ulysses head coach Kate Albert. His young football team came on the road and played very, very hard. They actually led Goodland at halftime, 22-21. Cowboys had to go back into the locker room and make some adjustments defensively to not give up the big play in the passing game. They were really focused on limiting, the rushing attack for Ulysses. It looked like they were very focused on limiting the rushing attack for Ulysses, which really had not done anything all season long, and really limiting the short passes. And Ulysses did a great job of play action and throwing over the top. And Goodland made some adjustments in the second half to outscore them 27-6 the rest of the way and pick up a 48-28 win. Cowboys had a ton of offense, a season-high 586 total yards when I got done totaling it up on Saturday morning. Zach Thorson, second game this year, he threw for 5 touchdowns, and Jackson Miller had 3 of those receiving touchdowns. And Jackson Miller has turned out to be a great weapon. He has really benefited from the attention that Lincoln Cure gets night in and night out on the gridiron, because teams are like, we have to find a way to shut down number 3. Well, that leaves Jackson Miller open, and he has really taken advantage of it. He's been great. 3 receiving touchdowns in that win. Lincoln Cure had another score. The Cowboys ran the ball great late in the game, which is something I believe they need to bottle up and try and find a way to do that more. They ran the ball great in this late in the second half, and they end up with a 48-28 win over Ulysses. But like I said, Ulysses fought very hard, and I'm sure Kate Albert I know visiting with him pregame, that he was just hoping that his team would show up and have some very good energy and grit and toughness and not give up if things got tough. And they fought hard. They fought hard all the way through 4 quarters, but the Cowboys just too much in a 20-point victory on Friday, which sets up a massive game coming up this Friday here at Cowboy Stadium. Goodland and Colby, the rivalry game. It's a massive game. It's humongous for postseason implications for a lot of different reasons. It feels like this year's Colby Goodland game it's always big, but this year feels bigger, I guess, is at least in my tenure. That's the sense I get. Some other scores from area football teams on Friday night. Tri-Plains Brewster, first win of the season. Congratulations to the Titans. They best Western Plains 53-6. Golden Plains, an easy win over Northern Valley, 59-14. What does Dylan Wark not do? He probably cleans out the lockers and washes the buses on Saturday, because he runs cross country. And then in football, he rushed for 243 yards on 14 totes with 5 touchdowns. He also had a receiving touchdown to Dylan Wark to lead the way for Golden Plains. Quinter lost at La Crosse 42-24. Wallace County put into a 2-game skid. They beat Greeley County 54-8. Rollins County, an easy win over a very much struggling Stockton program, 58-12. Ryan Schromick, one of the best backs in Kansas, did not play. They played a lot of underclassmen, did Coach Schromick and Rollins County. But fellow senior Dorian Colwell ran for 134 and 4 touchdowns. Tucker, I think it's Prideaux, or I think it's how you say his name, completed 3 passes, all 4 touchdowns. I think he was like 3 for 5 with 3 scores for Tucker Prideaux in that win for Rollins County over Stockton. And then Wheatland Grinnell lost 54-7 to, I think it's Marmaton Valley, I think is how you say that name, on Friday. And there you go, your high school football from this past weekend. Continuing on weekend winners here on a Monday morning, Goodland Girls Golf picking up another win this weekend. They were down at the Lakin Girls Golf Invitational. This was a tussle. Colby just continues to just slowly edge closer and closer to Goodland. Goodland only beating Colby by 3 strokes on Saturday, 387 to 390. The interesting thing about the Cowgirls golf team here over the last couple weeks, we've seen different girls lead the way for them. And this time it was Natalie Cure as well as Tori Jones, who tied for second. They were still a long ways behind Amelia Bowles of Rollins County, who shot a 7 over 77 in order to finish first at the Lakin Girls Golf Invitational. But Tori Jones and Natalie Cure tied for second with 91s. Colby's Braylon Stupka shot a 92 to finish in fourth, tied with Allie Cure of Goodland, who shot a 92 as well. But Colby had, I think, 4 girls in the top 12. Stupka fourth, Natalie Wadersky finished in 7th in the 94. You had Logan Nolan in 11th with 101, and Claire Denny finished in 12th with a 103. So Colby had 4 girls inside the top 12. Goodland had 3 girls inside the top 5, which was just enough to edge them over Colby. Some other area golfers included, I think, Giselle Vital. She finished finished in 14th with a 104 to lead the way for them. And like I mentioned, Amelia Bowles of Rollins County shooting a 77 to finish in first place individually. But Goodland winning their 7th consecutive tournament here this weekend for this in this girls golf season. But 7 straight tournaments, and so Goodland Girls Golf a winner of the weekend. Another winner of the weekend. How about those Denver Bronco fans out there? I know the text line, the FB Bank text line will light up with thoughts on that, but it was Hate Raider week, and they get it done. They have a massive second half as they beat the Broncos 34-18. As a matter of fact, the Broncos outscored Las Vegas, 34-8 the rest of the way after getting down 10-0 early in that game. It was kind of the first, I feel like it was kind of the first real good game of quarterback Bo Nix to an extent. He went 19-27 for 206 yards, had 2 touchdowns, also ran for a score as well in the win. So he had 3 total scores. Denver ran the ball decently well. Javonte Williams had 61 yards. Jaleel McLaughlin had 22. So they ran the ball decently well. And wide receiver wise, they got multiple different guys involved, including Josh Reynolds, who had a receiving touchdown, and Jaleel McLaughlin, who had just a couple of catches for a touchdown. But it was once again the Denver defense that was the huge storyline in this game. Highlighted none but no more than Patrick Surtain II, who had a 100-yard pick six, the second longest interception in Broncos history. But when you force 3 interceptions, I think Patrick Surtain had 2 of them. The rookie Riley Moss had another one. 3 turnovers, you're +3 in the turnover margin. That was another thing about Bo Nix, no turnovers. So +3 in turnover margin. You're able to run the ball a little bit, and your quarterback kind of takes a step forward. That's a good sign if you're a Denver Broncos fan. They win 34-18 over the Las Vegas Raiders. I'd say once again, a winner of the weekend is the Denver Broncos with their win this past weekend. I know it's the Raiders, and I remember sitting here talking about this game on Friday. I said there's something about this game that has me thinking that Vegas can come on the road and win this game. And win this game just because it seems like as if all is lost for them. Some of the players are looking to get traded, and their coach is under fire, and for multiple different reasons, I think. And then who knows? And they don't really have a quarterback. They even made quarterback changes yesterday. Who knows what to think on that whole ordeal? But they had a 10-0 lead at one point in time, and I was like, oh, here they go. But Denver really put it together, particularly from the second quarter on. To beat the Las Vegas Raiders 34-18. The Denver Broncos a winner of the weekend. Also, so moving on, there you go. The winners of the weekend, once again, I've got Hoxie football, Goodland girls golf, and the Denver Broncos winners of the weekend. On to losers of the weekend. Boy, how about top 10 college football teams on Saturday? My goodness, if that wasn't just absolutely the most wacky Saturday you could have imagined. I didn't expect that to happen. In no way did I see that happening, because there were some unbelievable upsets on Saturday, and I thought it would be mostly a chalky weekend, to say the least. It was not that. Anything but. It was pure Xanadu over this past Saturday. Alabama losing to Vanderbilt. The Commodores now 1-60 against top 10 teams all time. They tore down the goalposts. They took the goalposts all the way to threw them in the river. A 2-mile hike through Nashville to get that done. That was crazy. Tennessee losing to Arkansas on the road. A late touchdown in that game gives Arkansas the win over previously number 4 ranked Tennessee. You had Missouri just get their doors blown off by Texas A&M early in the day, and Michigan could not beat Washington on the road. As Vegas predicted, Washington was a 1.5-point favorite, and Michigan ends up falling there on the road to Washington. So once again, you had 4 teams lose in the top 10. 4 teams, and if you want to count USC, there would be 5 teams in the top 11 because they lost at Minnesota over this past weekend. And there probably should have been another one if Miami hadn't pulled a rabbit out of a hat and came back in the wee hours of Sunday morning, it felt like, against Cal. They came back and got the win. I think it was 29-28 was the final score. I mean, I fell asleep for that game. They were up. Cal was up by like 2 scores late in the third quarter, and Miami comes back and gets the win to remain unbeaten. Otherwise, there would have been more upsets. But it was absolutely crazy. College football on Saturday. 6 of the top 18 AP top 25 teams that played lost to unranked opponents. It's the highest mark. It's the highest mark since 6 of 16 lost the first week of October of 2020. It was a crazy weekend of college football. Absolutely nuts. I still can't believe some of the outcomes. Bama falling to Vanderbilt. That is just completely out of left field. It was a great, if you're K-State or Colorado, it was a great, especially if you're K-State because you're ranked, it was a great week to have a bye week. Just sit there and watch that carnage and not possibly be a part of it. That's for sure. But yeah, I thought for sure it was going to be a snooze fest of a weekend in college football, a lot of chalk, but I was wrong per usual on that. But what a weekend it was. 6 of the top 18 top 25 teams lose to unranked opponents. Once again, first lose of the week, top 10 college football teams. And our final loser of the weekend, Kansas football. I hate to do it again. I hate to throw them under the bus. I'm a Lance Leipold fan. I want to see him succeed. But another late game loss, this time at Arizona State, 35-31. Watch this game very intently on Saturday night. Saw the throw from Jalen Daniels, who was much improved. A big feather in the cap to Jalen Daniels, who I thought was much better. I think he had 200 and I'll look it up here. I think he had 260 yards passing. Of course, I got to find my right week here, but I think he had like 250, 260 yards passing. 260 yards passing for Jalen Daniels. He did have a couple of touchdowns and 0 interceptions, which was huge. That was massive. Devin Neal didn't run it as much. I mean, still 14 carries for 71 yards, although you kind of have to look at the team numbers wise, rushing wise, because Daniel Highshaw had a pretty good game. They ran for 150 yards. Probably should have ran it more and gotten more, but Arizona State was focused on shutting down the run game. Credit to them. Quentin Skinner had a huge game, 6 receptions. 2 of them went for touchdowns, including a huge 34-yard one late in the game to give them the late lead over Arizona State. But the Kansas defense, again, could not get off the field. They have had leads late. But Brian Borland's squads have not been able to get the stops as the game gets into the wee minutes of it. They've not been able to get off the field, get the stops that are needed to get the wins. That with Jalen Daniels has been the two biggest reasons why Kansas does not have the wins that a lot of us, including yours truly, thought they would have this year. But now Jalen Daniels, at least in this game, did not have an interception, so that's a great step in the right direction. But the defense continues to not be able to get off the field when it matters the most. That's the biggest reason. I mean, yeah, it's... And especially rushing the football. I mean, Arizona State had 313 yards rushing in this game. Cannot find a way to slow down the rushing attack. And Arizona State's a good rushing team, don't get me wrong. Especially Cam Scatteraboo, who had 186 and a touchdown. He's very, very good running back. He had 25 carries for 186 and a score. That should be kind of what Devin Neal's line should look like. 25 carries, over 100 yards, and a score or two, in my opinion. That's what Devin Neal's line should look like. But Kansas loses again, 35-31 at the gun. I'll say this just from a perspective of being a fan of another team, but this season reminds me so much of Nebraska football for the last few years. It reminds me so much of it. Just reminds me of it. You know, right there in every single game, you've got a good team, but you just can't win the close one. There's just something missing in the chain link. There's just something missing, and you can't. And as a coach or as a fan, you just sometimes can't put your finger on it. You try to, but you just can't. In this case, once again, I think it's the defense not getting off the field, but there's other things that happen throughout the course of the game. But Nebraska, for how many years, the previous few years, could not win a close game, still struggle with it to this day, despite getting a close win on Saturday over Rutgers 14-17, which the defense played amazing. But it just reminds me so much of Nebraska the last few years where they could not get a win and they were in these games, they were in every single game, but they just could not pull out the victory because something just went wrong or awry at an incorrect time. That's what this year of Kansas football feels like. Now at 1-5, still winless in the Big 12. And this was a team that I thought, and I think a lot of people thought, including our friend Wyatt Thompson thought, could be a team that could be vying to play for a Big 12 title and maybe even make it into the college football playoff. It ain't happening this year. And you know what? And if you look at Lance Leipold, and I like him a lot, and I think he's still the man for the job, that is a man on the sideline that looks defeated and lost. Just looks, to an extent, he just looks lost. He's like, I don't know what to do. I mean, he lost his mind on a play he should have when Jalen Daniels got lit up. But Lance Leipold just looks lost and befuddled on what he can do to try and help his team win. And I don't think he has the answer at this point. He does not have the answer at this point in time. And he's starting to look, he's got that disheveled look growing out his facial hair. It's just tough right now for Lance Leipold. But KU football, I hate to bring it up, but another loser of the weekend because they should have been, they should have way more wins than they should this year, but they just don't. And like I said, it just reminds me so much of my dear Nebraska Cornhuskers from previous years. But can't win a game, not exactly for sure why at times. But like I said, if there is a bright spot, it was Jalen Daniels' play. It was certainly better in the right direction. There you go. Weekend winners and losers. Winners again, Hoxie football, Goodland girls golf, and the Denver Broncos. Losers, top 10 college football teams, and also KU football. Losers of the weekend here on this Monday, October the 7th. All right, it's time to get to a timeout. When we come back, our good friend from Chiefs Blitz, Nick Athan, going to join us next. You're listening to the Morning Blitz here on a Monday.
They're having one hail of a sale at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. That's right, a hail sale where you can get massive savings on a new vehicle. For example, get a 23 GMC Sierra 1500 up to $20,000 off when you trade in eligible vehicle, now just over $37,000. A new 24 Chevy Tahoe RST, $13,000 off, now just over $59K. Plus 24 Chevy Traverse RS, $10,000 off, now just over $45,000. Plus many more. It's one hail of a sale at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Online at hurlchev.com.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Tyler Ghosh with the Andersons in Overland Park, Kansas with your morning market update. It is Monday, October the 7th. Overnight sessions have commodities set to open lower. December corn down 1 3/4 at 4.23. The March is down 1 3/4 at 4.40, and December of 25 is down a penny at 4.52 3/4. Beans on the Nove are down 5 3/4 at 10.32. The Jan is down 6 cents at 10.50, and the March is down 5 3/4 at 10.65 1/2. Kansas City wheat on the Dees is down 2 3/4 at 5.95 1/4. The March is down 3.5 at 6.11, and the May is down 3 at 6.22. Chicago wheat on the Dees is unchanged at 5.89. March down 0.5 cent at 6.12 1/4, and the May is down 1 1/4 at 6.24 S&P 500 is down 22 points at 5,778. The Dow is down 154 points at 42,492. Nasdaq down 102 points at 20,124. Crude oil is up 64 cents a barrel at $75.02. And gold is down $9 an ounce at $2,608. If you have any cash grain you'd like to move or want to learn more about our freedom pricing tools, reach out and give us a call. You can reach myself, Tyler Ghost, Jared Law, or Tom Saludo at 913-748-3000. If you're out in Colorado, give John Hankey or John Skiles a call at 970-744-4484.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
When challenging conditions arise, we don't back down. We up our game. Outpacing the competition with innovations fueled by Bayer's R&D. Keeping you equipped with an expanded portfolio, elite genetics, and additional local test plots. Channel leads the field, so you can rise above. See how you can save at channel.com/finance24. Read and follow pesticide label directions, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices.
Out here, we raise stronger people, stronger crops, and we proudly raise our flag to that. Let the weather, pests, and pressures try to beat us down. We only keep growing up. With the next-gen genetics, the pure acre-for-acre know-how of these soils, and a deep pride of our roots, we're born to raise. At Hogemeyer. Learn more at therightseed.com.
Even though your attention has turned back to school with events and activities, you just can't forget everything going on at home. That's where your local Hoover Lumber hardware stores in Goodland and Colby come in. Keep the lawn in check with mowers, blowers, and trimmers from Craftsman, Toro, and Ego. They are still your local Benjamin Moore paint retailer, and they still have that amazing selection of outdoor grills and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Plus, their helpful and knowledgeable staffs are some of the best in the Northwest. It's all at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Open every day but Sunday. Phones nowadays can do practically anything. Fries, and so much more. Plus, keep up to date on what's trending at McDonald's with the latest promotions, events, new products, and specials. You can even order and pay from the app. So download it today and score from your local McDonald's at Burlington, Colby, Goodland, and Lamar.
Ross Volkmer.
I love him. I think he's great. Okay. I think he's a real winner.
It's the Morning Blitz.
Unnamed texter on the F&B Bank text line during the break. Shout out to the Panhandle in western Nebraska. 308 talking about Dundee County Stratton beating North Platte St. Pat's for the first time ever. Congrats, Tigers. It's a hard program to beat, North Platte St. Pat. 308. We welcome into the program our good friend from Chiefs Blitz, our NFL expert, Nick Athen joins us now on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Good morning, sir. How are we doing today?
Good morning, Ross. How are you?
I'm doing great. I tell you, I'm trying to recover from this weekend of college football. It was completely nuts, and I did not expect it. It's like you went out with your friends for maybe a drink, and you ended up just completely getting trashed because you just didn't plan on it happening. That's what that weekend of college football was like.
You know, Saturday and Sunday watching football was probably the single most entertaining weekend that we've had watching football in decades. Just unpredictable Saturday, close games. I mean, almost every game was a close game on Sunday with the NFL. And the sad irony is my Kansas Jayhawks suck at football, and it's just so hard to watch.
You came in. I know you came in just a little bit as I was talking about it, but yeah, it's just. I feel bad. I like Lance Leipold. I think he's done a great job, but the man just unfortunately he's growing his beard out a little bit. He just looks lost and disheveled a little bit. He doesn't know what to do. And the thing is, I know exactly how he feels from watching my Nebraska Cornhuskers for these last few years. I know exactly how it is. You're so close, you just can't get over the hump.
Yeah, that's the problem. When you have, programs that are in the depths of terribleness, I guess is the best way to put it, and you have some success and you start to get out of it, and the thing that killed him this year was he lost a lot of really good coaches, and he didn't replace them with coaches who were of equal abilities. He chose friends. He didn't promote within for the offensive coordinator job. He brings in Grimes, who's absolutely terrible. Borland, the defensive coordinator, sucks. I mean, no blitz, no. He's got two best corners in the country, and he's got him playing zone coverage over and over again. And if you can't stop the run, Arizona State didn't do anything spectacular. They just pounded the rock. And you could tell by the way they were lining up if it was a run or a pass. I mean, it was so obvious to the naked eye. And if I can see that from 1,500 miles away in a TV set, you'd think the defensive coordinator, but they don't have that gear right now. They don't have that gear to take that next step. They're not going to play in a bowl game this year. If I'm boosters and I'm the people putting up the money, they don't have their stadium funded yet. I mean, the last part of the stadium has no money in its coffers. This is a bad look for Kansas. And Leipold, God love him, he's gotten a couple of really good pay raises, but he has got to do something he's not normally known to do. He is going to have to blow up this coaching staff, and that means he's going to lose recruits. He's going to lose guys to the portal. He's going to have to basically start over, and I don't know how he's going to do that. So just figure it out, do the hard stuff, take this as a learning experience as a head coach.
Well, I think it's got to hurt even more considering the seniors that he has are, and the guy, with Daniels and Devin Neal and guys that, I'm sure they're just distraught over this whole season. I have no doubt about it, but yeah.
They've been sold a bill of goods and they're going to pay the price for it. And, Devin Neal would have been a first-round pick, I think, in the NFL. You got 3 senior wide receivers. Daniels, who played a good game, but he's still off. He's not the same player, nor is he ever going to be that same player. His window is shut closed. He was a surefire first-round pick as well. He'll be lucky to get drafted in the 6th or 7th round, if not an undrafted free agent at this point.
Once again, our good friend from Chiefs Blitz, Nick Athen, joining us here on the Morning Blitz. Moving on into Sunday. Like you said, it was a weird day. I mean, you had to love it. I mean, you woke up with football and you went to bed very late with football because of the weather delay in Pittsburgh. You had to love it. But what were some of your big takeaways here in Week 5?
I think the Jets struggles still. I think the Aaron Rodgers experiment and the Robert Saleh experiment, those two don't go together. They don't fit. They never have. Nathaniel Hackett, is not a head coach. He can't, nobody can control Aaron Rodgers' ego. And he made some terrific plays and throws, but kudos to the Vikings. I mean, Sam Darnold, my goodness, the revenge game. That was sweet for him. And he struggled in the second half and he put a final good drive together and made some plays. And that was the difference in the game. I thought the Ravens and the Bengals game was exciting. I wasn't sure who to root for. I kind of felt like I really wanted the Bengals to win just to put the Ravens back another game. But, King Henry comes up clutch in overtime. Washington Commanders, Daniels just put a clinic on against the Cleveland Browns. Denver Broncos being 3-2. That's the biggest shock in the world. How they're 3-2 is beyond me, but it was a great weekend of pro football. And if you're a fan of the sport, from the second you woke up until late last night, you had games that were in doubt in the last minute or two. And that's what Pete Rozelle wanted. He wanted parity, and he's definitely got it.
What did you think of the Buffalo-Houston outcome?
I think the Bills are in trouble. First of all, they're going to be fined for the Josh Allen smelling salt situation. That's going to be big. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Allen himself is suspended a game. The Bills were frauds. They don't quite have the defense. And the Texans, I kind of said this last week, they were kind of a disappointment. They're just kind of playing just well enough to win. I haven't seen that magic. I haven't seen that fire. I haven't seen anything that's going to convince me that they can win in the postseason. They're young and they're learning how to win close games, kind of like how the Chiefs do it. And that's obviously a good recipe. But, I thought there were way too many mistakes on both sides of the ball. And, Buffalo to me is just kind of, they played great and then they want to go to Baltimore. They're still winning the division, but the division is so bad. They probably still will win it at 9-8 or 10-7, in my opinion, because I don't think the Jets are going to rebound. The Dolphins aren't going to rebound. So, the Patriots aren't going to do anything. So they basically have the division by fault. So they got time to heal. But, I was not impressed with either team. And it was kind of like, who's going to make, that last mistake to put them in a position. And obviously you get the ball down your goal line and, you're what? You try 3 pass plays and you give up a field. It's bad coaching. That team is in disarray.
I mean, we know Jaden Daniels, has been unbelievable for Washington. Caleb Williams had a great game last week as well. I know you've said before on this show that you thought that Daniels should have been the first overall pick. Why do you think that he has had so much success early on, particularly at a franchise that has been known to just be a dumpster fryer?
You know what? I think it was just the chance to go into a place and have a fresh start with no history. He's a young kid. Cliff Kingsbury has done a terrific job. He'll be head coach next year. There's no avoiding it now. He has done a terrific job. And, when he went to Washington, and he had a chance to go to the Bears, and the Bears didn't want him because he didn't want Caleb. And I thought that was interesting. And that was pretty telling because this guy knows quarterbacks, obviously, Patrick Mahomes, Kyle Murray. The guy understands the position. And he said, he's kind of the combination of the two. He's got Mahomes skills. He's got Murray skills. And I'll mold him into a really good quarterback. And I just think that he was so good in college. And he was such a great dynamic player. And then whenever you watched him, you can't take your eyes off of him. And I just thought, with what he accomplished, going to a team with a fresh start, you got a veteran head coach who's salty, who understands patience. And he just basically gave Kingsbury the keys to the offense. And he's let him develop this kid into what I think. I mean, he's definitely rookie of the year. And he could be MVP if he keeps this up. But it's not normal that he's doing this. I'm not going to say he's the next Patrick Mahomes because he hasn't won anything yet. But, the Commanders are the second best team in the NFC. And I don't think any of us would have put that bet down.
Nick Athen, our guest from Chiefs Blitz. Are the 49ers the first best team in the NFC? They've struggled a lot here as of late. Once again, they just need a bye week to get healthy.
Yeah, and they got a Thursday night game, I think, at Seattle, and then they get to host the Chiefs. So good luck with that turnaround. I think this team is cooked. I've said that before. Too many injuries. Shanahan has proven that he can't win the big games. Brock Purdy is playing for a contract. McCaffrey's not out there yet. I mean, all of a sudden he's got these injuries. I mean, he's been injury prone his entire career. They've overpaid for a lot of their offensive talent, and they're going to have to pay a massive price at the end of the year because, from what I'm told, Purdy wants $60 million a year. And, does he deserve it? He's got a Super Bowl loss. He's kind of turned the franchise around a little bit, but they had too many, defections in free agency, and this team's just not put together properly. They've got a ton of talent, but they're certainly underachieving right now.
How surprised were you that the Cowboys came back and won that game last night? Because I'm not going to lie, I was kind of surprised.
I fell asleep, and I woke up this morning, and I saw that they came back, and I thought, oh, man, how'd that happen? So, of course, I had to research. And listen, I don't like Dak Prescott. I don't think he's worth the money. I think the Cowboys are very fortunate to have won. And, Pittsburgh generally has a really good defense and plays good, but now they've lost 2 in a row after a 3-0 start. And no fault to the quarterback, but, Dak just made the plays down the stretch, and the Steelers didn't defensively. And shocked is a mild understatement in my view.
That was I did stay up. I did see the end of that game. I can't say I did that. See, I had that same thing happen Saturday night when I was trying to watch Cal in Miami because I fell asleep. I woke up and I was like, wait a minute. They lost?
Yes, they did.
I couldn't believe it. I was stunned when I woke up. Before we get into the game tonight for Kansas City, Denver and Bo Nix, I know they're taking on Vegas, who is not a good team and has a lot of issues. But, I mean, they did have a good response. I mean, I thought going into that game this weekend, I thought this feels like a game that Vegas finds a way to win because they're beaten down. No one thinks they're going to win. And then here they go. They just run the ball for hundreds of yards and they win. But Denver took it to them, especially in the second half.
Bo Nix, to me, I was a doubter, and I'm not 100% sold, that he can deliver the bill of goods, but he's got the fire. I thought the sideline rant with his head coach was really good. It's good for the team. It shows he's the leader. It shows that he cares. It shows he has passion. I'm not a Sean Payton fan either, but he's got this team playing well, and their defense is sick. Now, the Raiders' offense, outside of the first possession, when Bauer scored that touchdown, really didn't do much. And I think the telling point for me was Max Crosby gave up on a lot of plays. And I've never seen him do that before, ever. I mean, it doesn't matter the situation. It doesn't matter the score. This guy goes 100% all the time. And when he's dogging it out there, that tells me this franchise is in big trouble. They don't have a quarterback. They're not going to get a quarterback this year. Antonio Pierce is completely out of his depth. But Bo Nix, to me, put him in the most surprise category that they're playing so well. Now, offensively, he did a good job yesterday. He's kind of struggled beforehand. But some of the throws he made yesterday, some veterans have a hard time connecting on. So that was the most impressive part for me.
Yeah, I think he's looked good. He just needs more seasoning, more seasoning and time.
And they've got a very easy schedule. So right now they're in the playoffs if the season ended today. God, that's incredible.
If they can run the ball a little bit better and help take some pressure off of him, that will certainly help in the long run with that great defense. Nick Athen, our guest from Chiefs Blitz. Okay, tonight, Kansas City and New Orleans. This ought to be another entertaining game to wrap up week number 5.
Yeah, I think this is a good matchup and a good test for the Chiefs. The Saints, were playing incredible offense the first 2 weeks. They've struggled the last 2 weeks. Taysom Hill's not going to play tonight. That's a huge part of their offense. That's going to hurt. But they got Carr and Alvin Kamara, and that's a pretty good 1-2 punch. They've got capable receivers. This is a good test for the Chiefs because they haven't played their best football, let's be honest, in 4 straight games. They put it on, when they needed to, and they made the plays down the stretch. But this is the kind of team that, with Carr's experience, even though it's not a winning experience in Kansas City, he knows this defense really well. He knows Spags very well. He knows some of the things they do. This is like basically playing a division game against a quarterback who, for 10 or 11 years, fought against him twice a year. So Carr is certainly capable of putting up 400 yards on this defense, but I'm not quite sure it's going to happen this week. I think the Chiefs have a lot to prove. They've got their bye week coming up. They get to play the 49ers and the Raiders back-to-back after the bye week on the road. So this is a game where they can just, AFC West, it's ours. No one's going to catch us mentality. If they give in tonight and they don't play well and they lose, and the Broncos are sitting there at 3-2, and hey, maybe they can make a run. So this is a really big, important game for Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm just so fascinated to see how the defense holds up, which has been great all year, as you said, against this New Orleans offense, which has proven to be quite prolific at times. 2 more quick ones for you. Where do you think Devontae Adams ends up?
If I'm his agent, I'm going to the Washington Commanders. I listen, I know the guy's all about the money, and he's really not about the Super Bowls, and that's just his mentality. And I got nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. Some guys play for the show in the rings, and some guys play for the iron. But if I'm his agent, I say, listen, Go work out a trade with the Washington Commanders. Put them there. They're the best team in the NFC. They'll surpass the Minnesota Vikings. Eventually, the Vikings will crumble. It's inevitable. It's not gonna be. This isn't the second coming of Fran Tarkenton here, but they're gonna struggle. So for me, I would say I think Washington makes the best spot for him. Now, if I'm the Chiefs, and if they really want a second-round pick, I call their bluff and see it, because so far nobody has offered them any kind of compensation, because his contract is insane. He's got $35 million base pay in the next 2 years. So that's 35 and 25 and 35 and 26. Nobody's going to pay that money for a 32-year-old wide receiver. So to me, if he goes to the Jets, he's crazy. The only other team I think that makes sense is the Washington Commanders.
That'd be fascinating if that happened.
Yeah.
What game are you more needing a win tonight? The Chiefs over the Saints or the Royals over the Yankees?
What a terrible way to lose a baseball game. You give up 8 walks, in a strike zone that all of a sudden just started shrinking for 2 innings. And then you've got, this terrible call at second base where even with my glasses off, I could see that he was out. I think the Royals, this is obviously a must win for the Royals. If the Royals win tonight, they'll win the series. No question in my mind. They'll win both games at home this week. They have to win. This is this must win. And you know what? I could sit here and say, well, it's the Yankees. Major League Baseball wants the Yankees, and they want the Dodgers, and the Dodgers get spanked last night. So that's in doubt, because I think the Padres are going to upset the Dodgers. So that's going to throw all that out the window. And I think that Kansas City Royals showed a lot of resiliency in that game. They proved that they belong. They proved that despite all the mistakes they made, and all those mistakes needed to happen for the Yankees to win, I think they know they can compete. I think Reagans is going to come out tonight, and I think he's going to throw a gem. And I think Bobby Witt's going to break out of a little slump, and Salvi's going to get a couple of key hits. But I expect the Royals to win tonight.
We'll see how it all goes. It's a split screen type of night in the Nick Athen house.
Thank God for YouTube, right?
That's right. That is Nick Athen, our good friend from Chiefs Blitz, joining us here on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Nick, it's always a great time. Thank you so much. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next one.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you, Ross. Take care.
Once again, great stuff there from Nick Athen here on the Morning Blitz. All right, we got to get to break. We'll come back. We will wrap up the show with our final thoughts in the leftovers and get to the walk-off. That's next here on the Morning Blitz.
Your Cheyenne County Hospital in St. Francis offers you a quality rehabilitation department. This includes a variety of staff that provides physical therapy, occupational therapy, aquatic therapy, speech therapy, and women's health. To schedule an appointment, call 785-332-2104. Again, that's 785-332-2104. The Cheyenne County Hospital on 210 West Street in St. Francis.
Since 1901, F&B Bank has been serving our local ranchers, farmers, and other ag-related businesses, and many of our team members grew up in the ag environment. That being said, we understand your business doesn't fall into a one-size-fits-all model, so why should your loans? You can count on us to understand the uniqueness of your operation and meet each one of your financing needs. Come see me, Casey Schilling, to begin building that relationship today. F&B Bank, member FDIC.
The Farmers State Bank of Oakley has been financing agriculture since the day we opened our doors. Hello, this is Corbin, and we are proud to be your locally owned partner in ag. We invite you to come and visit with us when you need to purchase new or used farm equipment, or need any type of agriculture or business loan. We have the knowledge, experience, and financial resources to keep you growing. The Farmers State Bank of Oakley, a tradition of community and agriculture for over 115 years. Member FDIC.
It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid? Why?
Your daily dose of sports.
Thanks again to Nick Athen for joining the program. Always good to visit with him, and it's a big night in the Athen household as they've got Royals and Chiefs on the same. I'm sure I'll be watching it like that tonight for sure. Want to see how that all shakes out. All right, let's get to the leftovers real quick before we get to the walk-off. As always, we're up against the clock on a Monday. Quickly, some volleyball results from this past weekend. Some of the better showings. A lot of tournaments this weekend. You had Hoxie go 3-1 at the Oberlin Invitational. Dundee County picked up all 4 of their matches, won those, and won that invitational. Oakley went 4-1 at their own volleyball invitational. Their lone loss coming to Hayes, so a school twice their size, even bigger. Not bad there for Oakley, who's had a little bit of a rough stretch, but seemed to have found it their own invitational this Saturday. Wallace County went to the Ellis Volleyball Tournament, as did a lot of area teams. They had the highest finish. They finished up in 3rd place. They beat Victoria in 3 to finish in 3rd. Lady Wildcats finished 4-1. Their lone loss coming to Stockton on the day. Goodland had a tough showing at the Scott City Tournament. The Cowgirls went 0-5. They are just 2-21 this season. Weskin goes to Dighton tonight for high school volleyball. In college volleyball, Colby Community College won their 4th straight match. They swept Cloud on Saturday. They're now 18-2, overall 8-1 in JAC conference games. I talked about golf yesterday golf on Saturday with the Lakin Girls Golf Invitational. It's a busy day today. Sugar Hills Golf Club in Goodland is the host site for the GWAC Golf Tournament today. That'll be going on. So if you want to make your way over to Sugar Hills, you can go check that out. Rollins County and Oakley golf teams will be at Hayes T&P for a tournament today. And also big day for GWAC tennis athletes as league is being held at Scott City, as it usually is. Let's see. What else did I miss here in the walk-off? Oh, yes, an MLB postseason update for you here real quickly. Of course, we know the Royals fell in a back-and-forth game on Saturday to the Yankees 6-5. Cleveland shut out Detroit 7-0. And the Mets beat the Phillies 6-2, and the Dodgers won 7-5 on Saturday. Yesterday, the Phillies bounced back in a come-from-behind fashion. They win 7-6 over New York to even that series up at 1 apiece. And the Padres bounce back big time, a 10-2 dismantling of the Dodgers, ties that series up at 1-1. You wonder about the depth of pitching for L.A. in that series. Tonight, 2 more games. You've got Detroit today. Because this afternoon, you've got Detroit at Cleveland. Skewball's on the mound, so you're thinking Detroit should even up that series. If they don't, Detroit's in massive trouble. And then you've got Kansas City, of course, at New York. That is a first pitch time of 6:40 Central Time, 5:40 Mountain Time. Of course, you're here on AM 790 KXXX. And, of course, TBS is where you can watch that game in Game 2 of the ALDS from the Bronx.
A 3-run walk-off home run. A game-winning walk-off with a walk-off.
His 2nd walk-off hit of the season.
In walk-off fashion. That baby's go.
Once again, it was a horrific weekend for your boy when it came to picks. Just 1-4-1 this weekend. I had Kansas winning outright. Loss. Nebraska hosts Rutgers. I had Rutgers covering the 7. Well, it was a 7-point win, so that was not a win. That was a tie, whatever you want to call it, a wash. Colorado State at Oregon State. Great game, by the way. Went to double overtime. I had Oregon State winning by 11. Nope, Colorado State only loses by 8. Denver hosting the Raiders took the under at 35.5. Well, the Broncos scored 38 points themselves. There's a little loss. I had Michigan winning outright over Washington. Loss. Washington got the win. Vegas knows. The only game I won this weekend was the NFL. Baltimore at Cincy taking the over 49.5. I think they had like 70, 80 points in that game. So that was the only game I won. 1-4-1. I am 8-22-2 overall. So anytime you are placing a bet basing upon what I say, just do the opposite. You're going to be in great shape. All right, that'll do it for the Morning Blitz here on a Monday. Thanks to Nick Athen. Thanks again to you as well for hopping on the show and joining us throughout this past hour. We're back again tomorrow in 23 hours for a Tuesday edition of the Morning Blitz. We will see you then. Have a good one.